Good afternoon. This is Tisha McDonald, Alternatives Beauty Studio.
And I am Tanika Gillard. I am naturally yours.
So, how was your day today, Nikki?
It was a good day, quiet day, easy day, day off for real, for real. The real work starts tomorrow.
The real work starts tomorrow. Okay. My day was okay. My day was a pretty good day. Got some things. I got actually quite a few things done today on my day off. So, you know, it
Okay.
was a pretty decent day.
All right. All right. Yeah.
Well, I want to
Thursday,
say
Friday,
hello to
Saturday.
whoever is watching right now. So I'm just
Okay.
going to say hello. And if you like what we're doing, please
Well, I'm
share
going to say
our
thank you for
goodness.
watching the broadcast.
Yes, and thank you. All right, so I don't know if you want to get into it immediately or if you want to wait a few minutes, but you know, I'm ready whenever you're ready.
We could we could go ahead.
Okay,
We
you're
could go
coming
ahead
out of
and do it
focus
then.
and you are out of the camera. You're moving too much. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right,
I was
so let's
sending
get
you a
into it today.
message.
Huh? Okay. There is a lag. Okay. All right, well, let's just get into it and there's nothing I could do about that. So, we are talking tonight about 10 business expenses to keep in mind. 10 business expenses to keep in mind. Um, because we all know about the basics. Oh, you got to pay your rent. Of course, we want to talk about a little bit about, you have to have your insurance. We know you have to have your insurance when you have a business. This is why we didn't really want to talk about that, but that is in there. Um, of course, we know you have to pay your taxes. Your taxes are built in there. These are your basic expenses that you need, your overhead, your taxes, your insurance. We know that. But what don't we know? What don't we know? So that's what we want to get into tonight. So let's talk about our first thing, your time. People don't consider their time as an expense, and your time is an expense. You take the time to plan out what you want your business to look like. And I'm not talking about a business plan. That's another show for another time. But we're not talking about your business plan. We're talking about something like your business plan, but not your business plan. So it takes you time to say, okay, I want to have, I'll say my salon. What am I going to put into my salon? And then I want to brain dump. I want to brainstorm. What is it that my salon needs as far as supplies and stuff like that? But it takes time to get there. It takes time to build that. You might not have the financing for it. You might have to plan for that. It takes time to do these things. And like now, for example, I'm moving to Delaware. I'm going to have to start all over. This is going to take time for me. Do I have time? Because I have three children that are in school. This is going to take time. Now, this is going to take time for me to start all over. People don't know me where I'm going into Delaware. So this is going to take time. It's going to take time for my kids. It's going to take time for my husband. It's going to take time for me to rebuild my brand because I'm known out here in the PA as the only natural hair care specialist out here. Now I have to start that all over, and that's going to take time. It's going to pull from my family. It's going to pull, you know, how much time do I have for myself, to sit down and plan this? Talk to me, Nikki.
I have to wait until you know. So, time. When we think about time, you have to think about what it's going to take. Like you said, what is it going to take to get this business started? Just how are you going to plan everything? Sometimes it takes research, that's time. Knowing your market, that takes time. Is this the right area? Is this the right field? Is this what you really want to do? So making sure that you plan it out and know exactly what you're doing and having that time spaced out and carved out for you. And like you said, I don't know if this is another point because I think you mixed up a few points in what you were saying. But having time, like you work at a job and you come home and you work with your kids and your family. You didn't do that one yet, but just making sure that you have the time in there, that you did the research and did and to be able to start the work.
Yes, that brings us to point number two. If you're starting a business, and I'm just going to look at my notes real quick. If you're working a full-time job, this is what you were talking about, but this was point number two. If you are working a full-time job and you want to take your hobby or your craft to the next level, when you get home from your full-time job, now you're home working on your part-time job that you want to become maybe your full-time job because you want to transition into entrepreneurship full-time. So go ahead. That was point number two is you're working your full-time job and then coming home to start your own business in your own right.
Yes, sometimes that can be exhausting. Sometimes you just don't have the energy at the end of the day. You have a long day with your whatever field, clients, customers, patients, or whatever, and you had a long day and then you still have to come home and devote some hours. And you need to do that. You got to be consistent with that, devoting some hours in for your own business. Otherwise, it's not going to flourish. You have to be consistent with that. I know that a lot of times people will say, when do you have the time to do this? When do you have the time to do that? Because you do so many things. When do you have the time? But you have to make the time. If it's something that you want to do, if it's a goal of yours, you have to make the time to make it happen. However, you have to have that work-life family balance because you don't, and it's hard. It's hard to do that balance sometimes, but you don't want your children to feel neglected. You don't want your spouse to feel neglected. And you don't want your business to suffer because you're not giving it enough attention as well.
So these are expenses that we don't think about when we're going into business for ourselves. And we don't look, a lot of people don't look at these as expenses, but these are expenses because there's something coming out of you. It's something that is coming out of you. And it's time that's you have to take away from your family. Because I know when I started my business 11 years ago, it was a lot of time out. I was getting my name out there. I was working all time of night. It was a hustle. Then my kids were so young. They were only 3, 4, and 5. Sometimes, they would have to stay at daycare longer than expected, and I would have to pay that extra fee, but I was getting my business started. So we came up, we gave you 2 points, and I already said we're not going to really go into, of course, you have to pay your insurance. Of course, you have to go into taxes, pay your taxes, but this is not the type of show we're talking about. We're talking about other expenses that you don't think about. So our point number 3 is your mental fortitude. You already touched base on being consistent because yes, when you coming home and you're trying to start that second business, you have to be consistent with your own business. And I know I have been slacking. I have 2 classes that I'm in and I haven't done homework in like, I don't even want to say, because I haven't been consistent in doing that because now I'm preparing for my move. We have our show coming up October 19th, preparing for that. Getting these books out and up. But, so something had to go by the wayside. But mental fortitude, who is your competition? If for me, for example, when I first opened my business out here, and we try to keep it real on this show. We try to keep it real. So my husband was not supportive of me opening a salon when we first came out here because he said, there's nobody out here with natural hair care. And I'm like, you don't see it because you're not here. And even if there's not anyone out here, I will be the one out here. And for this day, I am the only one out here. But he did not give me that support to say, yes, Tisha, you can do it. Da, da, da. He would have preferred for me to work for someone else or for me to work in a field that I wouldn't have been happy in, as opposed to me opening up the business. And again, that was also because our children were so young. So do you have the mental fortitude? I was like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do this no matter how you feel about it. Now, that's one place where it's like a discord in the household, but I had to pursue my dreams. Just because he couldn't see it doesn't mean that it couldn't happen for me. And so
I,
sometimes you have to draw that line.
I
And now we
think that
couldn't be
that
more
was a
proud.
point.
Look at that.
I think that was a point later on down the line about not having the support of family.
Okay.
Look on your list,
See?
but the mental fortitude, and so we blend in two into one on this one. Then the mental fortitude, because you're exhausted, mentally drained, you'll hit a bump in the wall. I know many times with technology, even today, trying to. My Shopify store is not on my Facebook account where it used to be. But even with the technological stuff, that's not my thing or your thing. And so it gets frustrating and you want to throw in a towel and say, forget it. My Instagram is not building. My Facebook is not building. Nobody's purchasing, but you have to keep pushing it all the way through, seeing it to the end, so you can't quit just because, you got excited about starting the business and now it's not going as fast as what you thought it was going to do. Because things that last take time to build. So make sure that you start off small and enjoy every step of the way, even the frustration, so that you'll get that lesson in that frustration and you'll know what to do the next time.
That's right. And that's considering that you're getting your audience organically. You're not paying a robot to get all these followers and stuff like that. You're getting it organically. So when you get it organically, it takes time. And you always got to remember, it's not the quantity, it's the quality of people that you want to get. I don't care how many followers, as long as they're quality. And that's the thing about Alternatives Beauty Studio. Some people might say my prices are high. Well, then you're not the client for me. So it's about the quality, not the quantity.
Mhm.
All right. So moving on. Um, Scaling. We have to think about the expense of scaling your business. A lot of times we don't take that into consideration. Sometimes we want to move too fast. And I gave an example of that before where I had two salons on Main Street. At the same time, I opened the children's salon as well as my adult salon. But then I realized after I didn't have enough staff to support both the kids salon and and my salon. So you got to be ready to scale. You got to know how to scale. You got to know when to scale. When are you moving too fast? When should you slow down? That's an expense, because if I had known how to scale, I wouldn't have even spent so much time and money. That's that, and this is a mistake that I made. But you have to know when to scale.
I agree.
Okay. So, oh, you have to know if you want to do an online brick and mortar um, business. So we've talked about this before in another show, but this is a business expense that we should expound on. Do you want to sell your products and stuff online? Do you want to sell it brick and mortar? Now, of course, I have products I sell at the salon, or you can order online. For example, we have our online store. If you go to either of our websites, alternativesbeauty.studio, and you hit the shop button, there's an online beauty supply store right there. Versus brick and mortar. Now, again, I'm moving to Delaware. I have to start all over. Do I want to open up a brick and mortar? I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to start all over. These are expenses, mental, finance, that I have to consider. Go ahead, Nikki.
Yes. A lot of the brick and mortar buildings are phasing out for certain industries. A lot of the clothing is going online. A lot of your Christian bookstores have closed down because they could buy their Bibles and stuff online at different markets there. So, but certain other ones still stay in business, like your hair salons are still brick and mortar. And you can sell your products in your salon, or you could sell them online as well, like on your website, and different things like that. So just know what you want to do. I know that there's a lot of t-shirt companies out now. People make t-shirts and they doing well online. And then finding your platform online, what market is best for you. I don't know if that's another number, but knowing what platform is best for you. Is it going to be Instagram? Is it going to be, well,
That's the
some people
next.
do
That's the
that.
next one.
combining that in. And so you have your Snapchats and you have all of this, everything that's going on now. I can't keep up with all the platforms, but there's so many other than Facebook and Instagram. We love those, and they're not going anywhere. But then you have some other smaller ones that you could also market on as well. And then you have your niche markets online. Like if you're a knitter or a crocheter and you want to sell your goods and stuff like that, you can find those markets. So finding your place within the space is important as well. And that's part of finding your energy. And, that's what we're talking about today.
Yes, you did. That was our next point was your platforms, the smaller ones such as Reddit, but also you have TikTok. It's becoming a big deal for businesses to advertise on TikTok. And I was told that I need to be on there because I'm so adorable. This is what I hear. I'm so adorable. But also Reels now. A lot of people are starting to go into Reels, and maybe I'll dabble into that. Maybe I'll look into that. But what is going to be your platform?
Mhm, mhm. So she froze you guys. And so this is Tanika Gillard and that's Tisha McDonald. We are the Twinness. We're excited because our books are now online. You can purchase them on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. They're downloadable books. You guys, we've been working behind the scenes. Y'all have been asking, when are we going to do things together? Y'all ask a lot of hair questions. And so we wrote some books so that y'all can be informed. And we hope that you go there and purchase. You could go to twinness.com and purchase your books. We even have one that's free. If you go to bit.ly twinness.com, you get a free downloadable book. And then also we have our books on Amazon and on Kindle and Barnes and Noble. So this is Tanika Gillard. I am naturally yours. My sister was having some problems with her internet. I don't know. But anyway, we thank you. We were talking about 10 business expenses that you don't think of. And we're not talking about the financial expenses. We're talking about the mental fortitude that you have to stay in business, making sure that you know where you're going to market, if it's going to be online or if it's going to be a brick and mortar. Knowing if you have family support, are you going to be able to muddle through with your business and go ahead with it, even without the support of your family and your friends? And just making sure that you know that you count the costs before you even get involved, knowing that you have to work a full-time job and then do a part-time job and come home and still deal with your kids. We got to make sure that we take all these things into consideration when we start our business. Welcome back.
Thank you. There's a Facebook bug. I got a message that there was a Facebook bug, so it kicked me out. But
Okay.
it did give me a message, which I'm happy that StreamYard did that. And I
Okay.
sent you a message too.
Okay.
We're just reiterating what we were just talking about.
Yes, and I did let them know that the books are online at bit.ly twinness.com, that they can get them on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and Kindle.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so what was our next?
We finished with the spaces, like the internet platforms. What was the
Okay,
next one?
okay, so the next one, and we're almost done. We talked about this before on a different show. Do you want to have your children involved?
Mm,
Legacy again. This is another expense to keep in mind. Um, what is your end goal? What is your end goal?
mhm,
Because like my daughter, she's not interested in hair, but being an entrepreneur, who knows what she may want to do? She wants to be a lawyer, so she may want to have her own practice. My son, he said he wanted to be a chef. He may want to open up his own restaurant. So by us having our own businesses, we're leaving a legacy for them. Even if they don't want to be involved in our businesses or what we do, they will know, and there's a cost to that because it's not even an expense. You're feeding into your kids. So
mhm,
it's teaching them how to run a business. It's teaching them just different various skills, customer service, how to work with money, how to deal with people. It's teaching them so many different things, how to be on time, be punctual, how to be professional. And this is an expense, you know, um, that right now they may be like, oh, I don't want to go with mommy to work today. I want to go out and play. No, you're going to help with the family business, because it is a family business at the end of the day. And I pay my kids to come with me to work. My daughter gets
I
paid
was
for
going to
every
say
head.
that.
Yes, my son, he gets paid to come in there and mop the floors and clean the bathroom and do the mirrors. He gets paid for that because I would pay somebody else, and they go on payroll.
I
My
was
kids
going
are
to
old
say
enough
that
now with
too. It's a tax
work
write-off. Yes.
tax write-off. They're 14, 14 and up, they can get a job. Guess what? We just opened up their business, their bank accounts. So, these are expensive. And now, because they have bank accounts, now they can see, oh, if I spend X amount of dollars, then that means I only have X amount left. They have to learn how to manage their money. So it's an investment into your kids. So I don't want to say that it's an expense, but at the same time, you're paying your kids, that's an expense.
Yeah, and it does teach them a lot. It gives them some good moral background. I always tell people, and my son included, that because they think that because you own your own business that you're the boss. And I'm not the boss. My clients are the boss. And no matter what you do, you always have a boss above you, because if my client says, I want this style this way, that is my boss. And so, they understand that concept that you're still working for someone, even though you're working for yourself. And like you said, it helps to build different things within them. Responsibility. They get responsibility. They know I have to get up on time, be to work on time, show respect, and it gives them something to base their life off of, even if they do have their own business or if they work for themselves. It instills a lot in them. And I know I pay my son a babysitting fee because sometimes he'll have to watch my daughter for a little while until her nurse gets here, and he gets paid for that. That is a fee.
Never work for free. I teach my kids never work for free. Nika, I'm going to touch on two more things that we didn't discuss, but I think I'm going to touch on it real quickly. I think I mentioned this earlier. Okay, wait a minute. There was one, it was an example of a bodybuilder. She's a vegan bodybuilder, and she said she became a millionaire by accident. She was just showing how she works out, and she's a vegan. She doesn't eat, the typical, American diet or whatever. And she became a millionaire, and she's showing her tips. And this is what I want to say. An expense that you're going to have is maybe negative press or negative comments or negative. And from what I learned from the Breslins, people that have nothing to do will always have something negative to say. But if you're doing something in a positive way, you don't have time to worry about a negative, saying something negative about somebody else, because you're staying in your own lane. Only people who don't have nothing going for themselves will have something negative to say about you. So my point is, an expense. You may have a negative review or a negative whatever. How are you going to handle that? Are you going to retaliate and talk back bad about them? Are you going to try to defend yourself? Are you just going to let it go? Are you going to block them? What are you going to do? That's an expense that now, because of the day of social media and everything, you have to be ready for those negative reviews. And you're not going to please everybody all the time. Do you have a thick enough skin to be in the game of entrepreneurship? Because some things, I must say, will hurt my feelings, but I have to keep it moving and keep it pressing, because I'm not going to satisfy everybody. I try my
I'm
best
going
to
to
try
touch
to
on.
satisfy, but it's not possible.
I'm gonna use the Smiths on that one, Will and Jada. Even when they went through their little episode a few months ago, they got a lot of negative, they got a lot of talk, but you didn't hear them come back and say, it is what it is at the end of the day. And they really are, I mean, celebrities as a whole are really at a high level. They're under the watch of all of us all the time. And so we know that there are negative people out there. And sometimes you just gotta it's the cost of working for yourself. It's the cost of business. You will have some negatives. You do the best that you can to repair the damage if you can. Other than that, just keep it moving, because it's not worth you tagging because you got more people for you than you have against you, to be honest.
And that's an expense to keep in mind. Your peace of mind. Are you going to have peace of mind when you open up your own business? Are you going to have peace of mind? Will you be satisfied with the decision that you have made to open up your own business? And this is my last one, Tanika. This is my last one. Well, I hope I said earlier today, make a list of everything that you need to get started in your business. You don't want to forget major things that you need to get started in your business. And again, this is not a show of make sure you have your taxes in order, your insurance in order. Although I said that like several times, that's not the focus of the show, but make sure that you have a list of everything you're going to need when you open your business. You don't want to open up a knit shop and don't have any needles. You know, you don't want to open up, I don't know, a legal office and don't have any legal paper and pen. You have to make a list. You don't want to forget that you need that toilet paper in the bathroom. You know, so make a list of everything that you're going to need to get started with your business. That way, you know, my last point, how much capital you're going to need to get started. You gave me a good story today about this $5,000. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say there's a story in the Bible that talks about that, about counting up the cost before you start doing the work. You know, you have to know what you are working with and what you need and what you have in place and what you're going to need, even when it comes to staff, making sure that you have the right amount of staff, reliable staff. You know, that's how corporations stay in business. And, you know, that's how you'll stay in business if you have everything in order as best as you can. You know, for the times that we're in.
And I guess that would go with the scaling that we were talking about earlier today. I sure didn't do that. I didn't take into account. You know, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's I think it was like 6 of us at the time working at Alternatives. And I'm like, okay, I can, you know, manage this side. Sasha, you manage the other side, but she had clients of her own, and I did not, you know, scale that properly. So that is our tips, 10 tips or expenses, you know, for business expenses to take in mind. And it's not your typical advice, but these are typical business expenses to keep in mind. And we just hope that these tips help someone out. And we want to thank you for joining us today. And again, I am Tisha McDonald, Alternatives Beauty Studio. And you can go to my website at alternativesbeauty.studio. You can also see us. Our website is bit.ly/twinness.com. There we have 6 books or 8 books actually there. Tanika, go ahead, give them your information.
My name is Tanika Gillara. Everyone knows me as Nikki. I am naturallyyours.com. And I just want to reiterate one more time about family, because that can be a big issue when you counting up the costs, making sure that you allot the time for your family, because you know, sometimes your family, hey Renee, sometimes your family can feel neglected and unloved. Sometimes, and you even have to carve out time for yourself, because I know I rarely get that time for myself, but you have to carve that time out for your family. Make sure that you prioritize and not forget that. So count that cost in, because that's a big chunk. Like Tisha said, that was a big break, or it could have been a break, a deal breaker for her family, her marriage, you know. So make sure that you count the cost and discuss things with your family. I am naturallyyours.com, twinless.com. Find our books on Amazon, on Kindle, and at Books A Million.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble. Sorry, Barnes and Noble. Sorry.
So we want to say thank you and good night. But next Wednesday, we are going to have a special guest. And the special guest just so happens to be our brother, Alex Anderson. Yeah. And next week, we're going to get into serious business about being foster children, being raised in a foster care system. This is going to be more than just a one-part conversation. Series. Yeah, it's going to probably take us to 4 weeks in October. It's probably going to be a series. How do you overcome being in the foster care system? For us, how did we overcome losing both parents at such a young age? How did we overcome being separated from each other? How did we overcome so many obstacles and still have a positive view on life today? So join us next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Alex Anderson, our brother, will be joining us next week. And next week, we're going to start getting into some heavy things because a lot of you guys want to know, how do we stay so positive? How do we come, as my sister says, from foster care to fabulous? No, we might not be millionaires, but we are doing pretty okay to have grown up in the system and to have been separated and lived the life that we are living or have lived back then. So thank you again for watching. We hope to see you next Wednesday, and we will be here with our brother Alex. And thank you for watching today.
Real quick before we end, we will see you this Sunday.
Yes.
We'll see you this Sunday. We'll be here 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. Don't know the topic, you guys, but we're looking forward to seeing you. Thank you for watching. Watching the replay and sharing out this video. Leave us any comments or questions that you may have for us to address on Sunday, and we will see you guys then. Thank you.
Thank you.